It's the second and last day of the Patissier World Tournament, and they are coming to the grand finale. Everyone is admiring the cake of a talented chef from Japan. It's no wonder they called him the Patissier Chosen One. The final round is candy sculpture. He will be named the world's greatest patissier for sure. The male lead feels it's like a land of sweets. He is going to win this and achieve the dream he has had since he was a child. They are moving their finished pieces to the judging area now. However, an incident happened. His cake fell and pressed on him, causing him to get injured and lose a lot of blood. While dying, he remembers his dream. He wanted to create the world's greatest sweets before he dies and bring smiles to the faces of everyone in the world. God, you are far too cruel. Suddenly, the voice of a goddess appears and says that he will be given another chance in another world. She adds that his new name will be Pastry Mill Mortel, the Fief of Mortel. He heard that when his father, Casserole Mill Mortel, first became its suzerain lord, it was a barren land that could barely grow wheat. His father worked hard beside those who moved there with him, and those already living there. Together, they spent almost 20 years on the soil. That hard work paid off, and they are managed to grow to a fief of 3 villages of about 40 people each, capable of growing both wheat and barley. Pass is 9 years old and is practicing swords with his father. It's been 9 years since he was reincarnated as the son of the field's suzerain lord, Lord Casserole. He was raised by his father, a military hero, his kind mother, and his 5 older sisters. But their fief can't grow sugar, and it's hard to get sweet things here. Although he was practicing swordsmanship, his mind was always thinking about making sweets, so he was defeated. Head retainer Fuel came to find Lord Casserole with bad and good news. The good news is that it's looking like the bean fields will yield a significant harvest this year. It all worked out, as Pass said. They will have a bumper bean crop this year. Pass is talking alone about making bean dishes, but caramelized roasted soybeans are a classic tea snack, and you can sprinkle soybean flour on them for extra flavor. His father is also familiar with his strange actions. Fuel goes on to say the bad news. It seems that attempts to stamp out bandits in the county of Rites have failed. He is told the stragglers have escaped and are heading their way. If bandits come here, they will ravage their fields, both the beans they worked so hard for and the precious wheat. The bandits will likely arrive in 2 months' time. The bandits have 50 men, while the number of men in this village is only 30. This is a tough fight. Fuel sees Pass eyes and knows that he is starting to feel his calling as this fief's next suzerain lord. Pass won't let anyone destroy his dream, his plan to create a land of sweets. Fuel suggests to Lord Casserole that if a talented child like Pass could activate magic, he might be the scapegoat for the land. In this world, everyone would go through the sanctification ceremony to be able to activate their magic when they reach the age of 14. Casserole tells his wife Agnes and his daughter Josephine that he is going to put Pass through the sanctification ceremony. Agnes thinks it's much too soon for Pass. Casserole explains that even though Pass was only 9 years old, his swordsmanship and knowledge were comparable to those of an adult. His mother and sister immediately change their minds and agree to Pass to have the sanctification ceremony. They specially prepared splendid outfits for him to go to the capital. But all they're doing is wanting to take this opportunity to put women's clothes on Pass. 3 days later, Pass and his father are preparing to leave the village. Pass' friends came to see him off. Casserole tells Fuel to take care of the village while he is gone. He then starts chanting and casting teleportation magic. Agnes and Josephine feel that Pass is very suitable for women's clothing with magic. Pass feels very excited because there are many things in the capital that he has never seen before. That is brown sugar and fruits. The fief of Mortel has so few sweet things. He never sees any of this stuff there. He is thinking about making brown sugar cookies, pound cake, chocolate, and flan. His father says if he can make it through the sanctification ceremony, he will buy him whatever he likes. Pass sees the apples, and they look so delicious. He is so glad they exist in this world, too. His father says that those are bonkas. They are grown up north, so it's rare to see them in the market here. They are on the sour side, though Casserole hasn't had much of them himself. Pass says that he would like to try growing bonkas and begs his father to bring some back with him. His father is surprised and assumes that Pass was trying to develop his land. He is developing the instincts of a true suzerain. However, Pass is only interested in the fact that he can make a variety of pastries from apples, such as tarts, baked apples, and the old classic, apple pie. His father thinks he will develop the land to become rich and have a strong army, but Pass is thinking of a land full of all the sweets everyone can eat. Then they arrive at the church and are greeted by Father. Father has heard many tales of Casserole. For instance, that he protected his people through last year's frost. Casserole says that thanks only to the protection of God and the spirits and his son's wisdom as well. He would like his son to undergo his sanctification ceremony today, which surprises father. At home, Josephine asks Fuel about true sanctification. When she went for her ceremony, they said she didn't have much magic power, so she didn't get to go through that one. She hopes Pass will be okay. Fuel thinks he will be fine. Josephine wants to know what they will do with Pass. Fuel says that they will lock Pass in a dark room and give him some kind of holy water. He is left alone in the dark, unable to see or hear anything for hours and hours. Magic is a grand power hidden inside a person. This is the only way to draw it out, to face hardship and endure all by himself. It's been a day and a half now. Surely it's taking too long. Father says that he cannot release his son until the radiance subsides. That said, it is impressive that the moment has not yet come. That means that his son has a great source of magic power. In the dark, Pass only thought about what he would do with the bonkas. It's hard to feel stressed when he is thinking about sweets. He is overflowing with glee. He wants to fill this world with sweets and bring smiles to everyone's faces. A door opens and takes him into another dimension. All the mana is concentrated in his body. He hears his father's voice and wakes up. The ceremony is successful. Then father brought a scripture. If he has truly found his power within, then the scripture he is about to read should have meaning to him. With this blessing of scripture, the sanctification ceremony will come to an end. While father is reading out the texts in the scripture, Pass feels magical power surrounding him, surprising his father. Father has never seen anyone with as much power as Pass in this day and age. Casserole thanks father for his aid, a humble token of his gratitude. The church appreciates his most generous donation. Pass is contemplating choosing 2 apples. Casserole urges him to make a quick decision. The fruit seller sees Pass very enthusiastically, so he will throw in a few extras. Meanwhile, father checked the bag and found only silver coins inside. This won't be enough to keep his mouth shut. At the knight's field of Liptaver, the bandits are stealing food and killing the entire village. The next place they will go is Mortel. Meanwhile, Casserole is directing the villagers to build the walls. The bandits will arrive sooner than expected. Pass can't let bandits destroy his dream. Casserole evaluated the situation and acted quickly. They would temporarily seal up the 2 smaller villages. He ordered their wells filled in, and their fields and homesteads stripped. The people from the sealed villages moved here to the main one. They will be luring the bandits there. The goal was to avoid sporadic fighting. They had finished storing food that would last for 7 days inside the main village. However, Pass noticed that they were short on forces. Aside from Casserole and his retainers, Fuel, Cointreau, and Glackage, they are all peasant conscripts. In a prolonged campaign, they will eventually be overwhelmed. Casserole and Fuel have to know that too. Mark and Lumi come and say they want to help too. Pass asks them to gather up rocks. Nothing special, just the right size for throwing. The bandits are within the fief's boundaries already. If they hear any distant sounds or see anything out of the ordinary, get themselves inside the walls before checking any further. In the afternoon, Mark and Lumi are gathering rocks. Lumi wonders what kind of magic Pass ended up with. Mark didn't know anything about it either. Mark suddenly hears noises in the distance. The bandits are approaching the village. The 2 children immediately run back to report to everyone. They immediately close the gate. Pass asks his mother and sister inside at once. The Lord comes and calms everyone. If the bandits make it in here, they will kill their people, steal their food, and burn their houses down. The Lord refuses to let that happen. He asks for similar gratitude from them. Let all who share this desire to protect our families band together to drive these bandits back. The villagers were so hesitant, but the Lord filled them with courage. The night will come soon. That's when the bandits will strike. Cointreau to the Western Canal. Glackage, the east to center region. Fuel fears that the bandits won't attack this evening because they are unfamiliar with the terrain in this area. However, Casserole thinks they are running low on food and provisions. They will want to strike as soon as possible. Casserole consults Pass. Pass thinks there is too much they don't know. He thinks they need to learn, in detail, the extent of the enemy's supplies and forces. It's the same when making sweets. Before you work, you have to know exactly what you need, in terms of ingredients, time, temperature, and everything. Casserole agrees with Pass's opinion. He and Fuel will go scout the enemy's forces. He instructs Pass in charge while he is gone. They will hit the bandits hard and withdraw, taking a long detour to return through the northern entrance. Pass also does what he can on his own before they make it back. He asks Mark to pass a message to Cointreau at the Western Canal. We'll use flaming arrows to signal the enemy's arrival. And Lumi, tell Blackage to start preparing the flaming arrows. Tell him, once casserole and fuel are out of sight, the minute you hear even the faintest of hoofbeats again, fire the flaming arrows in the direction of the sound. Lumi fears that the flaming arrows might hit casserole. Pass explains that the flaming arrows from long range could not injure his father. In the past, Pass once threw a stone into the sky and accidentally fell on his father's place, but his father was still able to dodge it with ease. Although Father and Fuel know the land well, a night pursuit by bandits could distort their sense of direction. The flaming arrows should help guide them home. Mark wonders why they don't use teleport. Pass explains that the Lord's teleportation spell has a weight limit. It would be hard for him to use it on himself, Fuel, and the horses all at once. Pass thought sweets were the only thing he had ever had to think about. But in this world, the only way to make his dream come true is to protect his fief. To protect these people and bring smiles to their faces. That's what his dream means. That's what a land of sweets means. Father wants to get the battle over with tonight, even if he has to play decoy to do it. Pass orders the women to go inside, and all the men gather here. Casserole and Fuel are approaching the bandits' position. Fuel uses his magic eye to observe them. He panics when he learns that the bandits are a gang of ex-cavalry. They have got 5 horses and have about 60 people. Casserole doubt they were forced into banditry by starvation. This is likely a group of professionals. Fuel adds that they are keeping some villagers from somewhere, probably being used as slaves. The 2 bandits said that the surrounding villages were empty and the wells were filled. The leader guesses that they were focused in one place. Casserole and Fuel rush to the bandits to get their attention. They are not focused on killing, just making it through. After injuring several bandits, they quickly ran away. The bandits get angry and chase after them. It looks like they took the bait. Blackage is concentrating on listening to the sounds in the wind. He has noticed Casserole and Fuel retreating. He fires a flaming arrow in the direction of the sound and at the same time signals to everyone that bandits are coming. Casserole and Fuel see the flaming arrow and guess that Pass wants to do it to guide them here. But if he is comfortable telling them right while the village is, he must have set a trap. If they go around the east side, they will ravage the fields. They will have to go west. A soldier arrives to announce that the bandits are chasing Casserole and Fuel. They are heading around the west side. Pass orders the children to prepare to fight back. He orders them to throw flaming stones at the bandits, causing them to fall off their horses. In the next throw, they focus on throwing at the bandits that have fallen. Mark never thought playing with slingshots would come in handy like this. Once Casserole and Fuel have made their run on the bandits and head back, they will want to avoid the fields by taking the western route. The bandits' pursuit will likely leave them in a straight line. The flank of that line will be their weak point. We will hit them there, and we are having the children do this. This is still just an ambush. However, if they can disrupt their formation and throw their line into chaos, it will allow Casserole and Fuel more freedom to move. If the children fight with them, they can make up for their numerical disadvantage. The minute the enemy crosses the canal, the children will fall back, and the armed villagers will meet them. Pass won't let the children get hurt. Casserole asks Fuel to keep moving instead of pausing to compliment Pass. The leader can block all the stones and jump to the wall. The villagers couldn't stop a former knight like him. He rushes to kill 2 villagers, and his men also follow him inside. Blackage will be his rival. Casserole is fighting the bandits outside. The children continue to throw stones at them. The angry leader rushes to them but is stopped by Pass. He grabs Pass to threaten them. Pass sees a wounded bandit and thinks he can use him. Pass uses replica magic to make the bandits bear the pain that the man suffered. Pass merely replicated the leader's comrade's wound. Mark throws a rock at the leader, knocking him unconscious. A soldier comes to tell Lady Natalia that they have won. They have a few dozen bandits in custody. The Lord is safe, but Lord Pass took a blow to the arm. But it's just a scratch, so there's nothing to worry about. Even though Mother is sick with worry about them, they still can't return right now. Pass says the rightmost stack is for the main village here. Please take the remainder back to your own villages. This is the tale of a genius patissier who died before his time and was reincarnated as the son of a poor noble in another world to pursue a world full of desserts and smiles. It's a tale that is at once cold and unsparing, and syrupy sweet. His dream is to create this world's very own land of sweets. Fuel is tying up the bandits and planning to ship them off to the county of Ritess. That seems the most sensible way. They can claim they deal with the bandits rather than simply driving them out. That will allow the count to save face. Fuel wonders how much reward will she pay us. Casserole says that depends on the negotiation. We'll at least need compensation for our campaign expenses and the losses suffered from temporarily sealing the other 2 villages. Then there was the reward for the warriors who defended the village. Black Age, for tremendous contributions to the front line defense, Casserole awards him 1 spear and 1 silver coin. Next, Marcarello, Luminito. They both served well as Pass's assistants. The Lord awards them each a sword and a bag of barley. It seems that this bag of barley is heavy. Pass comes to help them. They reiterate what they did to fight bandits. Pass is so glad that no one died. Mark's mother is overjoyed that he is safe. Lumi's grandfather hugs her tightly. To think she'd be aiding the Lord and his son at such a young age. It's time to celebrate their victory. Neighbors brought food and drinks. Of course, 3 kids can only drink milk. Now, at last, Pass can focus on making sweets. He will make a bonka pie. To make it, he needs butter, flour, eggs. Lumi is looking at her first sword, and Mark wants to know what they would do with the bandits. He asks Lumi to check it out as a future retainer to the lord of this land. However, the guards did not let them inside. It's not safe for children to be here. Mark is very upset because he was treated like a kid. Mark devises a plan. He uses the stones to attract the attention of the guards. Taking this opportunity, they sneak inside. The leader of the bandits says that the sword on Mark's hip belonged to him before. Once they turn him in, he will die for sure. Before he dies, I'd like to teach him how to really use his sword. Mark is excited because he thinks he can be as strong as Pass. The leader tells him to draw the sword and hold it up in both hands. Lumi advises him not to listen to that jerk. The leader tells Mark to say magic words. It's pretty dangerous, so he doesn't want to let his friend there hear it. As soon as Mark approaches, he kicks Mark and picks up the sword to attack Lumi. The 2 guards return to find the leader using Mark as a hostage. He asks for a horse to get out of here. Lumi is injured, and Pass comes and asks them to stop the bleeding first. Don't mind about leaving a scar. He goes out and asks, where's the bandit? The leader stole a horse and fled to the east. He tells them to take care of Lumi while he chases after the bandit. The trap set in the eastern mountains to deter the bandits should still be in place. If he can avoid a fatal blow, he can use his replication to copy any wound he receives back onto him. At worst, he can make it a draw. Wait a minute. If he can replicate anything he sees, is it possible? Casserole is worried when he learns that Pass was chasing the bandit alone. He tells Fuel to take care of things here while he goes after Pass. If the bandits have allies out there, they could meet up and turn the tables on their pursuits. Fuel tells him to stay calm in times like these. The village cannot be without a leader. He will go with Cointro to find Mark, and Casserole will reassure everyone here. The bandit is on the run when he falls into Pass's trap. He and Mark fall off the horse. Pass caught up with them. He tells Mark to stay back. The bandit laughs and despises the strength of a child like Mark. Mark recalls the words his father taught him. Don't let go of it, even if your hands are ripped to shreds. The leader knows that Mark can copy wounds, so he will finish Mark off before Pass can cast his magic. Mark tells him to run away, but he refuses because he will never abandon his underling. The bandit rushes to attack and breaks Pass' sword. Just as he is about to end Pass, the scene changes. Fuel can't find Pass despite using the magic eye. They could only follow in the footsteps of the horses and find Pass' broken sword. Fuel is heartbroken and doesn't know how to tell the Lord. He returns and finds Pass here. Casserole says that he returned here with Mark not long ago. He got Mark home. Agnes took Pass in her arms and refused to let go, and eventually fell asleep just like that. Fuel couldn't believe that Pass had returned before him. It's not possible. They followed right after him. Pass explains that it's an extremely complicated set of circumstances requiring a highly detailed explanation. So if it could wait, perhaps, for another day. However, the 2 disagree and ask him to explain everything now. Pass says he replicated Father's teleportation magic onto himself earlier, and used that. His magic lets him replicate a copy of anything onto anything else, as long as it's countable, and he's seen or interfaced with the original. That includes other people's magic spells. After hearing everything, Casserole asks Pass not to tell anyone he can use other people's magic spells, or use those spells in front of others. The use of magic on the battlefield is extremely dangerous. Using it the wrong way could kill him very quickly. If it got out that he could replicate any other form of magic, others might come after him as a human weapon. He wishes they hadn't let that bandit leader escape. They'll just have to pray he's disposed of before he reveals the secret. Pass goes to Mark and says, it sounds like Lumi's going to pull through. He is about to pay her a visit and asks Mark to go with him. However, Mark doesn't dare to meet Lumi because it's his fault. If he listened to Lumi and just ignored that bandit, she never would have been hurt. Moping around here won't make things any better. Pass advises Mark to say sorry to her. Mark musters up the courage to say sorry to Lumi. Lumi isn't mad at him and is happy for him to visit her. They smell the scent of something. Pass brought in a bonka. It is a get-well-soon gift for Lumi and to cheer Mark up. Go on, try it. It's good. Her wound doesn't even hurt anymore. Pass glads to hear it. Try these too. Bonkas and honey. They found its taste too sour. Pass says that every bonka tastes different. Some are sweeter, some are tart. When an ingredient is that idiosyncratic, you need real skill to prepare it in a way that harmonizes the flavors. He thinks it's the same with people. Mark, you have your own aspects that make you unique, and I'm going to make those aspects shine. He thinks this experience has deepened his flavor profile. He wants him to take what he's learned from this and work hard to improve. Lumi's father enters with an extremely indignant look on his face. You've wounded my precious daughter, haven't you? He said Mark has to make up for it by marrying his Lumi someday. This little tomboy of his ain't going to land a man on her own. Lumi sends her father a piece of cake. Hey, what about mine? A husband's assets belong to his wife, right? Which means she is taking all the rest of the pie. Sweets really do bring smiles to people's faces. But Pass is just getting started. He's going to make everyone happy in a land of sweets. Because they let the leader escape, they didn't get any money. Recovery after the bandit raid has proved challenging. The burden of reopening the two sealed villages has proved a heavy one. Between up the field and wells, rebuilding the torn-down homesteads, and digging food to get through the upcoming winter after having to strip the fields, they're quickly running through their treasury. Letting the bandit leader escape hasn't helped matters. They'd have secured at least 200 gold coins for his head. They can't borrow the money. Every nearby fief has nothing to spare, thanks to the frost. What about the court nobles? Not a chance. That band of misers would charge a gold piece of interest. Pass asks, can't you and mother ask your parents for help? Casserole says he and Agnes both cut ties with their parents a long time ago. He's never even introduced them to their benefit. He can't exactly ask them about money now. When Casserole and Agnes first met, his lands were even more barren than they are now. Everyone around them opposed the union, and after a whirlwind love affair, they generally eloped. When the norm in this world is arranged marriages, it must have been really hard on them. The children are also discussing the fact that the village is in a difficult situation because there is no money. Lumi suggests Pass to make lots of bonkas to sell in other cities, but Pass says he just made it for fun. In order to produce enough to make a profit, they'd need a way to bring in a lot of bonkas. It probably wouldn't work. Mark asks Pass to teach magic to the others. He thinks that if everyone in the village can use magic, then they can do big things with it. Lumi opposes Mark's idea because it'd take a miracle for them to learn magic. She teases Mark that even if Mark did learn how to use it, there's no way he'd use it effectively. For example, if he learned a fire spell, the best he'd do is set himself on fire. However, Lumi thinks that magic could still be the key and asks Pass to show them his magic. Pass remembers that when he was thinking up new sweets back in his old world, he'd spend all night brainstorming with his colleagues. He tells them to draw any picture they like in the dirt. Mark drew a picture of him crushing a dragon, but it was a worm with legs. Lumi draws a bonka and Pass finds that she drew it very well. Pass starts using his magic. He copies the drawings onto the skin of their hands. After about 3 days, the draws will disappear. However, it's permanent on trees or walls. Lumi asks Pass, instead of copying drawings onto something, could you copy something else as a drawing? If you could put a picture of a house or someone's face on the ground, I think that'd be pretty cool. Pass comes up with a way to make money thanks to Lumi's idea. He thanks her and immediately runs home. Anges, Casserole is discussing the current difficult financial situation of the village. Anges is not sure her parents will offer much aid. Pass bursts into the room and says he's got a great way to make money. Pass remembers that Casserole told him about his attempts to arrange a marriage for Josie. The little lady's 13 years old now. She's just about marriage age. Since Casserole has the teleportation spell, he could take her all around to introduce her. However, those who cannot use the teleportation spell will spend a lot of time and money introducing their children, and transportation is not without a cost. In that case, Pass shows everyone his ideas. He used magic to copy his mother's figure onto a wooden board, surprising everyone. It looks just like her. It's like looking in a mirror. Pass calls them matchmaking photos. They can use this to make money from the nobles. For example, ask the heir to the fief of Mordeln to use his magic to make you a matchmaking photo, and you can show off your child without the need for travel. Pass guesses that knowledge unrelated to sweets can come in handy too. They could fetch 5 or 10 gold coins for a picture this detailed. It's still cheaper than a proper portrait, and because it's magic, they don't have to charge for materials. Plenty of parents would pay out the nose to introduce their child with a picture. This might just work. Fuel is afraid that the nature of past magic will get out like this. Past thinks we can't hide it forever, and letting people think his magic is just about making pictures might let him hide in plain sight. They decide to go to Count Retes's place and ask her how she feels about it. Anges tells Pass, look at this part here. These crow's feet, can you erase them? Located in the south of the divine kingdom of Prolic, the county of Retes is an outlying domain bordered to the east and south by the sea. Over 50 villages lie within its borders, with 4 main villages. They're all linked by roads to the local capital, which administrates them. It's one of the largest domains in the south. At the core of it all is the local capital, Retesvale. Casserole and Pass have come seeking a meeting with Count Retes, Ladesh. They ask for safe passage with him. Ladesh stands at the castle and wonders, has he come to take me to task for failing to crush the bandit threat? The man standing beside Ladesh says that chastisement from a mere backwater noble is nothing to fear. They'll butter him up and send him on his way. Casserole and Pass enter the living room and begin to negotiate. Before leaving, Casserole told Pass that Ladesh was the eldest daughter of the previous Count Retes. Her predecessors died in the conflict, and her only rightful heir was very young at the time. Brioche was allowed to assume authority until that heir came of age, but the heir died before he came of age. Pass sees that Ladesh seems genial enough, but she's watching them very closely. Pass is very excited when he sees the cookies here. Tea is one of her household businesses. The teas of the Retes are well known even in the royal capital. The aroma and flavor both live up to their reputation. Pass used to make cookies all the time. He ate it and felt something strange. Ladesh wonders why Pass had a strange expression when eating sweets instead of joy. Ladesh heard Casserole excel not only in combat, but also skillful in governing the barren land to yield bountiful harvests. She would also appreciate his advice on agricultural management. Casserole says, I'm very touched by your words, but my territory can provide for my people only due to my son, and nothing sort of special. Ladesh considers him modest. Casserole supposes that it does seem unbelievable for a child not yet 10 years old to oversee the cultivation of a wasteland. Ladesh says that Pass must be proud to have such a fine man for a father. Pass is glad she's finally talking to him. Now's his chance. Pass says, yes, we owe our household's prosperity to my father, but the fief into which my father poured his sweat and tears recently came under terrible attack. A raid by several hundred bandits. Even I and my fellow children were forced to take up arms. It was actually just about 50, but it's to my advantage to lie. Exaggeration to throw her off is a negotiation tactic. Ladesh realizes she let the child manage to change the topic. Pass continues to delve into the main topic. Our household could truly learn from your example. And when we interrogated the bandits we'd captured, they admitted they'd come out of Retesvale. Ladesh knows that he's going to negotiate for damages. She plans to plead ignorance. Gracious, could such a thing be true? I'd heard nothing of it. Pass says, if you doubt my words, we're prepared to turn a few bandits over to you. If that fails to spark your memory, we could hand them directly over to the royal family. That could lead to an official investigation. But would you prefer that? Ladesh argues that, assuming your theory is correct, perhaps it's a band that our household eradicated within our territory, and the few remaining stragglers escaped into yours. Pass remembers Fuel's words, that it seems that attempts to stamp out bandits in the county of the Retes have failed. Pass says the bandits claim they moved on after shaking off pursuit in your domain. If you claim that your household eradicated the bandits, whose forces did they shake off? Who did they fight? Ladesh asks, do you have any proof that the bandits we eradicated and the ones you captured are the same set of bandits? Casserole takes out a sword. One of the bandits was carrying it. It carries the family crest of the Retes family. This means the Retes family's attempt failed, and as a result, the bandits went to Casserole's territory. Pass has no intention of causing trouble over this incident. However, compensation for the trouble would be greatly appreciated. Ladesh proposes 100 gold coins for compensation. Pass asks Ladesh to grace them with more of her kindness for their plight. Ladesh says, you don't speak like a child, do you? 130, then. Pass disagrees. Ladesh gets angry and suggests 150 gold coins. Pass accepts and consults his father. Ladesh feels this child is exceptional. Perhaps the Lord of Mortelm's words before were more than mere humility. Normally, it is the father who would conduct negotiations. Still, 150 gold coins, against the possibility of losing the king's trust for letting bandits escape and ravage nearby lands. It's a small price to pay. Perhaps she underestimated Pass due to his age. She must admit defeat. She has a question. You seemed rather displeased by the tea we served earlier. Was there a problem with it? Pass says the tea was excellent, but I thought the accompaniments were overly sweet. When serving baked treats with tea, a more modest sweetness might prove more appealing. Why not make something less sweet next time? It would allow the aroma of the tea to assert itself and make both the tea and sweets far more enjoyable. Ladish is surprised by Pass' understanding of sweets. Casserole taps him on the head to remind him of his rude behavior. Pass apologizes for arriving with no gift in hand. He takes out a towel and uses magic to create a picture of her. Ladish smiles and feels very satisfied. At Royal Capital Secondary Estate of Duke Cattlesec, today Casserole and Pass came to congratulate Duke Cattlesec's son at his coming-of-age party. This is Duke Cattlesec's son, Squall. He graduated first in his class at the officers' boarding school. He always idolized Casserole for his exploits. Casserole asks Pass to introduce himself to Duke Cattlesec. Pass starts to introduce himself. I am truly proud to make your acquaintance. I am the son of Casserole Mill Mordeln, Pastry. Lord Squall, my deepest congratulations on your coming of age. I am privileged to be an audience for this joyful occasion. Pass's expression surprises Duke Cattlesec and his son. Squall is about to respond to Pass, but he bites his tongue. Duke Cattlesec heard Pass's come of age as well. He asks, were you endowed with magic at that time? Pass says that, by the grace of God, I was blessed with the use of magic. Duke Cattlesec says that for both father and son to be so gifted, truly, House Mordeln must have earned God's favor. Would you be so kind as to demonstrate your magic? Pass agrees and asks Duke Cattlesec to hold out that cloth. He starts casting magic. Replicate. Everyone is amazed at this magical painting of Pass. It's truly spectacular. Pass says, if I may, I wish to offer it as a gift to Lord Squall on behalf of myself and Margrave Huberc. Huberc doesn't appear to be in attendance today. Third daughter of Margrave Huberc, the Lady Petra. Prior to our arrival here, my father used his magic to visit the Margravate of Huberc, whereupon we met with them. As you know, the Margravate is constantly feuding with its neighbor. As this creates challenges for Lady Petra in leaving their territory, the Margrave asked if we might introduce her on his behalf. Squall looks at the picture and feels that she's so charming. Pass says that next month, Lady Petra will be holding a celebration for her own imminent coming of age. She has hoped to have Lord Squall in attendance as an expression of friendship. Duke Cattlesec is about to decline the invitation, but Squall immediately agrees. Duke Cattlesec is furious that Squall responded so quickly without considering his station. He wonders, can't he see they're trying to arrange a marriage? This boy can't be underestimated just because he's a child. Duke Cattlesec intends to deny them by blaming the road for being too far. Pass tells him not to worry about it because his father will be more than willing to assist. With the use of Lord Mordeln's magic, Lord Squall would easily be able to attend. Squall is delighted with that. Duke Cattlesec looks resentful of his stupid son. Pass approaches and tells Duke Huberc that, at the time of their visit, it appeared to him that Lord Huberc had ulterior motives. He believes Huberc has grown weary of the constant border feuds. He believes Huberc liked to use the awesome military power his grace controls to diminish his opponent's will to fight and end the feuding forever. Huberc may be seeking a match for that purpose. Duke Cattlesec thanks Pass and will bear that in mind. Duke Cattlesec loudly says that, out of respect for his invitation, he himself shall attend the celebrations as well. Perhaps his son will find his romantic destiny, and it will surely make a good story to take back to his majesty. Duke Cattlesec, bellowing those out like that to make sure everyone around him hears, has declared his intent to keep the king informed and to act in accordance with the best interests of the kingdom. Squall goes to greet Pass privately and asks Pass, what kinds of things does Lady Petra like? Flowers, for instance, or a particular cuisine? Pass says he has only met her once, but it appears she likes sweets. He presented her with handmade cookies when they first met. Squall asks, are you skilled at making sweets, Lord Pastry? Pass is never happier than when he's making sweets. In fact, he recently made a pie with bonkas he'd bought here in the capital. Squall interrupts Pass' thoughts because he has something more important to ask Pass for help with. Pass be glad to provide any service he can. He thinks Squall wants a cake to give to Petra, but he doesn't. Squall asks Pass to change Petra's portrait to enhance its sensuality. Pass sees that men are all the same in any age, in any world. Back to the fief of Mordeln. The provision of food and firewood among the citizens is going smoothly. People's lives have gradually become stable thanks to Casserole's own money. Fuel has never seen a lord give out his own money to the people, but Casserole says that he'd hardly be living up to his responsibilities if he let his subjects starve. Pass enters the room, and in his hand are two letters. One is from Duke Cattlesec. The other is from Margrave Hubert. Casserole reads the 2 letters and is pleased to announce that they have a windfall coming. It says 20,000 silver coins here. Lord Squall's been engaged to Lady Petra. It appears they've decided to announce it privately when Lady Petra comes of age. Pass feels it was worth spending all those hours on the matchmaking photo. After all, to get that photo, it took 2 whole days to produce one that the Margrave approved of. And Hubert's going to send an advance of 30 gold coins. Fuel feels he is very generous. Casserole explains that it's funding for Lady Petra's security. Hubert's requested that they keep her safe from, and during her coming-of-age announcement in the capital. There are plenty of people out there who would oppose the idea of a marriage between houses Hubert and Cattlesec, the neighbor they're feuding with in particular. Fuel wonders they're keeping the engagement secret, but why the information got out. Casserole guesses that it's the church. Officially, the church is a neutral entity, but a large enough bribe can loosen their tongues. And the fact that they're officially neutral allows them to collect a whole lot of information. Casserole can protect Lady Petra herself well enough with just his teleportation spell, but it won't be easy. Pass found that looking after Lady Petra while also transporting her retinue and guards to the capital would prove difficult. And assuming Casserole teleports just Lady Petra to the capital, they would need to secure guards for her there. But even if Casserole tried to recruit aid in the capital, there's a good chance unsavory elements might infiltrate his hires. Fuel thinks, should we turn the job down? But Casserole disagrees and says, nothing will better secure our position than to earn the trust of 2 of the kingdom's major players. To ensure the prosperity of the fief of Mordelm, he must accept. Pass also agrees with Casserole's thinking. It's not just for the fief of Mordelm. To make his dream of a land of sweets a reality, they must make this mission a success. Pass suddenly comes up with a plan when he remembers the church. He just thought of a great place where they could keep Lady Petra safe, a place with no windows and only one entrance surrounded by thick walls. It's the true sanctification ritual chamber. Casserole thinks that's a great idea. Since Petra's going to the capital for her coming-of-age announcement anyway, it's natural that she'd undergo the sanctification ceremony. If they just tell people that it's running a bit long, they will lock Lady Petra in until the engagement is announced. It might just work. They won't need to hire mercenaries and can pocket those 30 gold coins. Pass then sends Casserole a receipt for materials from the traveling merchant. Just as Pass is about to leave, Casserole calls him back. He asks, what's this about a crate of bonkas and a barrel of sugar? Did you spend all this money without telling me? At the estate of Margrave Hubert, Lord Hubert awaits Casserole and Pass for escorting Lady Petra. Casserole says he brought his son to keep Lady Petra from getting bored. He can't exactly tell him his 9-year-old son is in on the plan. Lord Hubert thanks Pass. His magic is why they were blessed with this marriage. He invites them into the carriage. His daughters are already on board. Petra thanks Pass for the cookies he recently gifted her. He's thrilled to know that she enjoyed them. He'll seek some occasion to send her more. She's very happy, and she's been dreaming about them ever since. They were truly delicious. Lady Licorice seemed shy to see Pass again and didn't say much. They start to depart. The plan today is to enter the church within the Margrave's borders under the claim of receiving a true sanctification. From there, they'll teleport to the church in the capital. Then, in the capital, Lady Petra enters the chamber until announcement time, while they all stand guard. That's the basic idea. After chatting for a while, Lord Hubert learns that someone wants to harm his daughter to prevent this marriage. He chose to trust Casserole. Casserole said his men are already making preparations in the capital. He swears he will protect Lady Petra. As soon as they arrive, several black-robed men charge at them. Casserole and Hubert fight them. One of them rushes to attack the girls inside the carriage but is stopped by Pass. He won't let them lay a hand on these girls. Another guy appears to attack Pass but is stopped by Casserole. Casserole says they were too weak. Train for 200 years more, then try again. They retreat. Hubert is grateful to them for protecting his daughters. The 2 girls are still panicking after being attacked. It's Petra's first time in the basement here. They're going quite far down. Liko panics when his sister is not around. Pass takes her hand and says, you'll be safe. We're with you.